DGC Requiem here. We are playing Modern Elves, Green Black Elves tonight. We are on the draw here, and this is a totally keepable hand. The Azuri is great. There's a fair chance that it doesn't last long enough to do much of anything, but beyond that, the hand looks fairly decent. Maybe a little too much of this and not enough other one drops, but sometimes that works out great. So we will keep. Ooh, Burn. Burn's a fair matchup. I always felt like we were. Oh, that's a shame. I always felt like we were slightly favored in the matchup when I was playing the deck previously. I used to play this deck a lot, like this was my primary deck. I used to win like 68% of my matches with this deck. It was bananas. He does bolt the bird, the mystic, which is appropriate. When we beat them in the races, it's because... look at that. Feed me. Feed me, Goblin Guide. Opponent's down to 3 cards. He should have me to 14 already. Bit of a blunder on his part. This would be so much better if he hadn't been able to bolt our first Mystic. So we clearly have a Naya Burn player here, which means we're probably not dealing with, and I say clearly just because of the Inspiring Vantage, we're probably not dealing with the Tarka's Command. So 13 is going to put us down to 7. Shaman of the Pack, beautiful. So no blocks here. Oh, let's think what we can do. We would love to be able... So we just have access to 5 mana. We're probably just going to have to chump block with one of the Dwynen tokens. Probably both the Dwynen's Elite. So we have a couple lines. We can either just play Azuri Renegade Leader out straight up, and then use the Mystics to block and protect themselves with Azuri for regeneration. I'm just trying to think. The problem is I suppose we'll be able to get up to 5 mana the next turn, but then we don't have much to attack with. Assuming he has I don't know, say a Boros Charm in hand, which is about worst case scenario for us, that means we can't crack the Wooded Foothills next turn if we let one of his creatures through. So the flip side of this is, if we play Dwynen's Elite, we could at least trade for the Goblin Guide, chump block. We're not overrunning with Azuri the next turn anyway. Yeah, I think this is what we're going to do. Then we can go to blocks and Court of Calling for maybe like an Elvish Archdruid or something after blocks. Well, not an Elvish Archdruid, but we could actually chord for a second Dwynen's Elite, which is not bad. Possibly a Shaman of the Pack. No, sorry, we can't. We only got access to 5 on our chord. So maybe Visionary or Dwynen's Elite, most likely. If we chord now, we're still going to have 2 blockers up. Yeah, we still have to chord right now. So we can still trade off with the Goblin Guide, or if we wanted to trade both with the Swift Spears, but that's not going to happen. Our opponent is out of cards though, so we might be able to use Azuri next turn to buy us enough time. Another Dwynen's Elite. Well, actually, let's think about this. He's already putting us to 2. There's really no value in holding off to 2, right? Suppose depending on what we have to tap next turn, him having too many creatures, and he draws another creature, another Goblin Guide. That could be problematic. This also allows us to crack our foothills, and we're pretty much dead to anything anyway, so I think we just do this. Almost any top deck of his. We can protect 1 creature. Right now we can protect every one of these creatures except for Azuri, but we don't have any chance of trading off. So I think we really want to go this route. And if he has a spell, we don't care anyway because we just lose. So there is no reason not to attack with this warrior. So we just have to hope he fades a burn spell here. So we're hoping for a creature draw or a land, which is good 50% of the deck. So that is fine. We can deal with that. And he made a mistake there. He should have attacked. I think I have to trade off one of my creatures. I mean, he's just given us an easy overrun, basically. Oh my god. I'm an idiot. I just had overrun, and I'm an idiot. This is why we play the games, I guess, right? Eidolon. Whenever a player casts a spell, this is a learning moment. We're going to take this second to... Whenever a player casts a spell with converted mana cost 3 or less, Eidolon of the Great Revel does 2 damage to that player. This kills me, gentlemen, ladies, friends. Whereas if I had tapped these 5 pieces right here, I'd have attacked for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus 15 more, 22, of which he could block all of it, save 1. So technically, he would have been able to stay alive and top deck a burn spell the next turn. This does not make me feel any better. After damage, I could have... No. Ugh. Ugh. Brutal. Brutal. I hope you enjoyed that. These are the good ones, the moments that you live for. Oh my god, I can't believe I did that. So I'm sitting there telling you how Eidolon's great because we have the mana to overrun this turn anyway. Not technically, we would have only gotten him down to 1 life if he, blocked with all of his creatures. But so we very well still could have lost the game. But the moment I saw Heritage Druid, I was like, oh sweet, we can actually play Heritage Druid, tap a couple of our creatures, get our overrun, and play Shaman of the Pack, which will kill him. Would kill him if that was not an Eidolon and maybe like a Goblin Guide. Okay, I think I'm over it. Let's move on to game 2. Oh, brother. So we're going to bring in Leyline. We are cutting the Court of Calling. We're probably cutting the Life Crafter's Bestiary and a Lead the Stampede. Beyond that, I don't think there's anything we want to do here. We could bring in Fatal Push, but that's not really what this matchup's about. So we're just going to run with that. So this is a phenomenal hand in the matchup. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Can't believe it. So brutal. I just want to text my buddies. I got 2 buddies who play Burn. I just want to tell them what I did. That is like, this is the whole, Reed Duke talks about this, is like, before you make your first play, take a minute to think out your turn, how you want the turn to look, consider your options before you make those plays. So I already knew that we essentially had the game locked up. Granted, we definitely didn't. He could have top decked any number of burn spells to kill us on his turn. But as soon as I saw another card, I was like, ooh, look at what we can do with this. And then I did it before stopping to think if it was the right, just because it could do it. It's like, what's the guy from, what's it called? Jurassic Park. He's like, we're so caught up in whether or not we could do it, we never stop to think if we should do it. That's what I'm talking about. Alright, so anywho, let's get rolling. We actually kind of want some land, so we'll actually lead the Stampede next turn if our opponent lets our Mystic live. Excellent. So actually, we may be able to chain off a little bit here. That's beautiful. Yeah, the opponent is pretty much dead already. There's really not anything he can do here. Oh, this feels like Legacy. So we're just going off here. We'll hopefully win with a Shaman Drain this turn. We just don't need Azuri here. It would have been better to put Azuri and then the Mystic, but yeah. So opponent just concedes. I think technically we would have gotten him. We would have been able to attack for 7 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 12, yeah, maybe we wouldn't have been able to get him this turn. Still, that's when we'll be back for the third game here in just a moment. Get that match status up to 1-1. Really trying hard to keep that in mind. Okay, so he's going to want to bring in Destructive Revelries. So Cord could be okay here. The problem with Cord is just that you know, you might not have the creatures to cast what you want. The flip side of it is it's better against a Eidolon of the Great Revel, which apparently I don't know what that card does. Reclamation Sage might actually be alright to bring in. Just don't know what I would actually want to take out. I think I'm actually pretty good with what we have here. The other thing is with Azuri, we could have actually overrun that turn to win. So this is just not good enough. That is also not good enough. Hopefully our opponent mulligans here. I actually do look at this hand and think we have a better chance on a mull to 5. Taking too long doing my stuff. Look at that, already down to 11 minutes in a aggro matchup. Part of the issue though is I just haven't played Elves. Again, I've been playing it a little bit here and there, like a couple matches in between other rounds, but you really got to think your turns out in advance, similar to how I didn't think my turn out in advance against the Eidolon. Actually, again, I just don't think this is good enough where... Okay, this is doable. We can keep this. So double mulligan. Ouch. So our opponent's looking at his scry. That is a good one. I think we're actually going to keep this on top. If we get lucky, so we're going to draw this. If we get lucky and our opponent does not kill our first Llanowar elf, then we're going to hit Archdruid turn 2, and if he doesn't kill that, we're going to be able to basically use Collected Company to win the game. And we have to look at how we can win this game from this low of a base, and that's actually a legitimate option. They do not run all that much creature removal. Probably post-board here they do, but they definitely have all their Searing Blazes and Searing Bloods in, but still. That's how we get out ahead in this matchup. Now, if we don't draw a land, we're ideally going into Visionary. Worst case, obviously, we're just going to have to drop another Llanowar Elves. I feel like a Searing is coming. Nope. Come on, Gabi, show me a land. Ugh. Alright, so we really need the Visionary to hit us a land here, or this is probably just going to be pretty much over. So if he points that at our Llanowar Elves, we're pretty much done. As it is, we're already going to have to cast, even if he doesn't. Yeah, he does. Okay. We're pretty much going to have to cast Mystic and Llanowar Elves next turn. Oh yeah, we're done here. So we're in a position where it basically would take, and he's already got it. I was gonna say we're basically in a position where he would have to fade for like 4 turns in a row for us to go off. So I still think that was the right thing to do. That's probably not true. It's probably better to put the Collected Company on the bottom there. Yeah, it definitely would have been better to put the Collected Company on the bottom. We need the second land. We're not going to get to Elvish Archdruid without a second land anyway, which means we're never getting to a Collected Company. So a little bit of a mistake on what to scry there. Loses us a match. Well, I don't know if that lost us the match or the fact that I made the mistake with playing the Heritage Druid into the Eidolon. Either way, mistakes were made, and there's lessons to be learned from this match, so hopefully we can carry those over into the next one.